Would everyone please come to order, and everyone rise, please. I'd like everyone to please join me in a moment of silence for the victims and families of the Boston tragedy. Thank you. And now would Russ Winwood of the Springs Church, would you come up and please give the invocation?
Let us pray, please. Our Heavenly Father, we acknowledge you as the giver of life, and we ask your blessings, wisdom, and guidance upon the City Council as they together labor to govern our city, to make Bonita the beautiful and safe place to live. And Lord, we lift up the city of Boston this morning as they recover from this tragic attack. Be with the injured, the investigators, and especially those families who lost loved ones. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Saka, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman McIntosh. Here. Councilwoman Martin.
Here.
Councilman Slackton.
Here.
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Councilman Simmons.
Here.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Simons.
Here.
Councilman Longcart.
Here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mayor.
Okay, public comment on agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item, please come forward.
I have a question about the Rosemary Canal. I'd like to know.
I'm sorry, could you give
Oh,
your
I'm
name
sorry.
for the record? That's all right.
Deborah McLean, publisher of the Banana Peel. I have a question about the Rosemary Canal, the green sheet. I would like to know if it connects to Rosemary Creek, and what body of water does Rosemary Creek end up in? Because of if we dig out that canal, there's going to be some dirt and things we don't really want traveling down the creek. The second thing is, I really promote fingerprinting. For instance, as a licensed real estate broker, former broker, and a licensed mortgage broker, former, I was fingerprinted, and I found no problem with that. And I think fingerprints are important into the base of finding out who people are. I even feel that way about candidates. So I think we should keep that and not repeal it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, Rick Steinmeier. I'd like to thank the most responsible person in this room. Thank you. Oh, Carl.
Aw, what a nice compliment.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And
It was almost
everything goes up to you.
it was an invisible compliment.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back and forth. But anyways.
Any other cryptic messages you would like to send us this morning?
Yes, the city's Parks Department for the outstanding work they've done in cleaning up Island Place. They've mowed the grass, they removed the stumps. Myself, I removed the Brazilian peppers, a little bit of Brazilian peppers that were growing. I made a little ribbon fence around it to keep the neighbors. For the last few years, they've been building the houses on the other side of the street, and all the contractors, and of course, I know the mayor was a contractor, have been parking on Mr. Richardson's property and Island Place, and Mr. Griffin's property. It's a difficult thing to do to build a house when they build such a big footprint. To build a house, you need a place to park. And now that these two houses on the other side is on Hickory that are finished, I had some no trespassing signs and some ribbon to keep people from driving through this area because it is wet, it is low, and now that it's been cleaned up, I see no reason for Hastings investment to spend any money on this. The city has enough money to mow the grass once in a while. If they don't, I'll pay to have the grass cut, or BBIA will pay to have the grass cut, or Bonita Beach Alliance will pay to have the grass cut. Until the point where you have to do some engineering to figure out where you can put a dock or a canoe launch or whatever the public needs in there. In the future, we certainly will need more access to the bay. On 4/15, which was tax day, there's a new group in town or on the beach called Bonita Beach Alliance, which has been formed recently to protect the neighbors in the neighborhood property rights, since the city has been made clear to the people that the city is not going to defend the covenants that are on the property. So we have came up with a new organization called Bonita Beach Alliance, and if the mayor would so please let me read this recent letter to the record. Just about
how long a letter? Is it a two-page
It's
letter
real
that I see
quick.
there?
It's only 2 pages.
It's
It'll be pretty quick.
all right, Rick.
All right. Island
One
Place.
time.
Island Place, a proposal by Hastings Investment to create Osprey Garden Park located on a public property adjacent to the property owned by Hastings Investment, 27675 Hickory Boulevard, in exchange for certain considerations. Action requests. Members of the Bonita Beach Alliance suggest you simply say no to this proposal at City Council meeting April 17th and stop the waste of city staff time and time engaged in further discussions over this outrage, illegal and unworkable proposal. The city need not even be considering this issue because the city does not have any legal ownership right to this parcel. Island Place was dedicated on the original approved plat, and all property owners in first edition acquired by implied covenant a private easement to Island Place. This appears to be no lawful way for the city can give away any property rights to this parcel. Bonita Beach Alliance has no objection to adjacent landowners or other organizations such as Bonita Springs City, Bonita Beach Improvement Association, or any representative group of neighbors making improvements on this property as long as they do not restrict public use of the property in any way. No fences, no gates, no restrictive signage, no agreements of any kind should restrict in any way the neighbors' access to the bay through this property. I'll have another reading. I'm going to stop now.
Thank you very much.
I'll finish it at the next public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else this time? Please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Christian Andrea, landscape architect with Architectural Land Design, representing the Osprey Garden project. We are here this morning to help answer any questions. We have the plans that we prepared. So if you'd like us to, we're able to present and discuss any questions at hand. Mr. Richardson is here as well.
Good. Thank you very much. Good to know. Next speaker, please.
Diane Frazine, Hickory Boulevard. I'm here talking about Island Place also. I'm also a member of the Bonita Beach Alliance. I know that you have all received a letter from those owners of that property in that plat. 15 of them signed it stating that it is theirs and they would like to keep it. I guess I would like to throw out the thought of if this is allowed, which it shouldn't be, it's illegal, but if this was allowed, what's to stop you guys from saying, or Audrey Vance or the next group, or the person who borders the beach access, saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to put some sea grapes in there, and I'm going to go ahead and put a fence up, and I'm going to decide when people can use Bonita Beach. I don't think that would go over real well with all the city residents. Do you? I don't think so. And that's no different than what you're trying to do on this property. This property was dedicated back in 1942 to all those people for bay access. And there's not one owner in the city of Bonita that deserves the right to claim someone else's property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Anyone else on any agenda item? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and go on to proclamations and presentations. And let's see if I can get the microphone to work this time. Hey, look at that. Okay. Charles Tomlinson, would you please come forward, please? That was rather like The Price is Right, wasn't it?
Yeah, hey, what do I win?
Depends on which door you picked, sir. All right, this is a 5 years of service award. All of our employees here at the City of Bonita Springs are great civil service. You are one of them. And I got to tell you, there is no harder job, I think, probably arguably, than code enforcement. And they do a great job, and they actually make our community the place that it is, the great place it is. So thank you very much. This is 5 years of service presented to Charles Tomlinson as of the 14th day, April. This is marked on your calendar, isn't it? Right? Oh my gosh. 2013, in appreciation and recognition for your 5 years of public service to the city of Bonita Springs. On behalf of this council and the citizens of Bonita, thank you very much. Everyone give me a hand. Okay. At this time, Maribel Slayball, would you please come forward? Maribel is with the Bonita Springs Assistance Office, and she's going to give us a presentation regarding the United Way House.
Good morning, City Council members. Good morning, citizens of Bonita. My name is Maribel Slayball, President and Director of Bonita Springs Assistance Office. I want to share bigger news with you. The Bonita Springs Assistance Office has been designated by United Lee County as the lead agency for the United Way House extension in Bonita Springs. What that means is that we are bringing more services to enhance the lives of the citizens of Bonita Springs. I have with me the 4 agencies who are ready to start providing services for seniors, children, and veterans. Please join me, please. We have Lisa Zink with the visiting nurses of Lee County.
Hi. Thank you so much. I'm Lisa Zink. VNA, Visiting Nurse Association, is Lee County's first home health agency and was established to provide skilled medical services in the home regarding of a person's financial resources. VNA is Medicare certified, CHAPS accredited home health agency. We work with seniors providing nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and an aid for daily living. We are a non-for-profit organization and a member of the United Way. And we will be at the Bonita Springs Assistance Office on May 6th from 1 to 2. I'll have the medical social worker with me, and he can discuss veteran benefits. And we'll also be informing the residents about options and home health care for seniors.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Nita Iluna, Director of Dr. Piper's Senior Center.
Good morning. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to introduce to you the Dr. Piper Center. We have been around for over 30 years, and we have been serving Bonita Springs, but I'm just so excited that we have a place there at the Bonita Assistance Office and now a United Way House to really have a foot on Bonita Springs area. But we do serve seniors, and we provide volunteer opportunities for seniors 55 and older, and through our Senior Companion Program, Foster Grandparent Program, and the Senior Employment Program. The Senior Companion Foster Grandparent Program are national programs that have been nationally for 50 years, and the Dr. Piper Center has been the sponsor of these 2 programs for over 20 years. Now, the Foster Grandparent Program enrolls seniors to mentor and tutor children with special needs, while the Senior Companion Program provides companionship, friendship, and transportation to frail elderly seniors. Our goal is to maintain frail elderly seniors in their own home for as long as possible. And we are very excited to get this, to have be involved with Bonita Springs Assistance Office, because now we can truly expand our programs in the Bonita area. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have the American Red Cross, Jeremy Gentle.
Good morning. I'm the Armed Forces Coordinator for the American Red Cross. We cover Lee, Henry, Collier, and Glades counties. I'm very interested in working here in Bonita. We're going to be here 2 days a month, the second Wednesday of every month from 9 to 11. We will be providing assistance to veterans and their family members, information referral, eligibility screening, financial assistance to low-income veterans that are in need of assistance. We look very forward to working here in beautiful Bonita. Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Eliana Tedillo with Early Steps.
Good morning. My name is Eliana Tardillo. I work with Early Steps as a PR person, and I'm also the mother of 2 kids with Down syndrome. So we work providing services to kids with special needs 0 to 3 years old, regardless their income. And what we do and what we want to do here is to educate community in general about the importance of giving their kids attention, love, and the most important, accepting when a child has a special needs to be able to help these kids so they can succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And next month, I will come back with more services to let the city know what else is available to them.
Well, Maribel, thank you very much, and thank all of for what you do from our hearts. Thank you for what you do for all of us. Okay, at this time, Carl, you have a presentation of the audited financial statements.
Yes, sir. And to do that, I'd like to introduce our finance director, Lisa Pace, who once again this year led a great team of our finance employees to put together a great audit. And of course, we have to compliment all our employees for handling our finances very, very responsibly. And I think we've got good news coming. So, Lisa?
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. I'm here to introduce Jeff Brown of Ashley Brown, our audit firm. He's going to cover and present to you all the official audit and cover some technical points that he's required to do. Before he did that, I wanted to call y'all's attention to one schedule in the audit. It's on the budget book, page 48, and it is our general fund, which is our operating fund, budget to actual. It will show you, if you don't want to turn, I'll just cover it for you. The third column over, you'll see that last fiscal year, we had a general fund operating excess of about $2.2 million. That is great. That's just operating revenue versus operating expenditures. That's a combination of us, the staff working really hard to hold down your costs, control your costs, monitor spending very diligently, as well as conservative budgeting for operating revenue. We'll let you all know that we have previously rebudgeted $650,000 of that. We knew that was coming so we incorporated that into the budget you've already adopted. But what this means to y'all is you'll have $1.6 million in general operating excess surplus to be allocated and presented to you all in your July budget workshop that's coming up. So that would be available to you all for your goals and objectives y'all set for the city. We did want to let you know that it is it's a non-recurring revenue source, which means we would recommend that y'all consider applying that to non-recurring expenses, like capital expenditures, capital projects, things of that nature, versus things that will recur each year, because we do not...
Like birthday cake or...
Well, those come every year, unfortunately.
That's right.
Those of us that have a few more than others realize. But
not that I'm suggesting that.
But anyway, that's what I wanted to let y'all know. Staff should be commended. They've done a great job, all staff in the city. I did want to recognize the finance staff. We have them here, if they'll stand up. Thank you very much. Y'all will see in your packet that we received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting Award again this year, which is an award that we applied for. Our staff volunteered to give extra time to go up and above the minimum requirements for our GASB financial report. So we're doing a great job, and we just wanted this to be a positive day for y'all. And I'll bring up Jeff Brown of Ashley and Brown.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. As she mentioned, for the record, my name's Jeff Brown. I'm here to present your September 30th, 2012 audited financial statements, and with me today is Tony Smith in the agenda that references Don Ashley. I'll reiterate sort of what Lisa and Carl said. Everybody sort of cringes when auditors come. It's a very disruptive process. We request all sorts of documents and supporting information and schedules and things that are obviously happened a long time ago.
That's
So-
strange because we didn't notice anything.
I know. You probably didn't even notice. Well, one day I did see you here, but they definitely know when
Yeah,
we're
I
here.
know, I know.
So, no, they everything that we ask for is always presented to us in an organized and auditable fashion, timely, and it makes our job easier. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. The first thing I'll bring to your attention, please feel free to interrupt me as we go along if you've got questions, is on page 3 of the CAFR. The last paragraph on that page states, in our opinion, based on our audit, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the governmental activities. This is what's referred to as an unqualified or a clean opinion. This is the highest level of assurance report that you'll receive from an audit firm. On pages 5 through 14 is your management's discussion and analysis. And if you haven't, I encourage you to look through this and review it. It provides a narrative overview and analysis of the city's financial activities. It's presented with charts and graphs. It's kind of in a comparative format. It has some prior year information in there, the current year actual numbers, as well as some budget figures. On page 16 is actually where the audited financial statements themselves begin. This is the statement of net assets, and it presents a big picture of what the city's total assets and liabilities were as of September 30th. You'll see total assets were just $168 million. The largest component of this being your capital assets or depreciable assets, and that comprises about 89% of your total assets. The total liabilities were $24,569,000. Of this amount, 20.6 or about 84% is the long-term Bank of America note there. If you flip over to page 18, this is more of a current asset and liability presentation. This is more of the historical governmental balance sheet. It presents the general fund as well as your additional major funds. But if you focus on the general fund, the total assets were $15.3 million and the total current liabilities of just over $1 million. So you had total fund balances of $14.3 million, of which $6.6 million was unassigned. So the city is fiscally and financially sound and in a good, solid financial position to go forward. On page 20 is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. This is a modified accrual version or similar to a cash basis type of an income statement or a profit and loss. And the total governmental, in the far right column, the total governmental revenues for the year were $19,669,000. Total expenditures, $16,902,000. So there's that number Lisa referenced, the $2.7 million of revenues in excesses of expenditures. So that is increasing your fund balance. So that's a good positive thing that we like to see. On page 24 is actually where the notes to the financial statements begin. And this defines the reporting entity, the city's operating format, the incorporation date, and provides a summary of your significant accounting policies and procedures. There's also some supporting schedules to some of these big numbers that are in the front. If you flip to page 37, there's a more detailed analysis of what the changes were to your capital assets, your land, your construction projects, that sort of thing. And then on page 39 is the long-term debt schedule, and you'll see in here the change due to that Bank of America loan. If you flip all the way back to page 48, this is that same page that Lisa referenced, but this is your budget versus actual schedule. And the far right column, the total expenditures were under budget by $1,367,000. Last couple things. On page 83, this is our independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and compliance. And the very last sentence on this page states that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting that we consider to be material weaknesses. And then over on page 84, last sentence in that first paragraph, the results of our test disclose no instances of noncompliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. And finally is on page 87 and 88 is our management letter. There's numerous references in here to Florida statutes, rules of the Florida Auditor General's office, but they're all positive statements that the city had complied with everything that you were required to comply with. So with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Council, you have any questions for the gentleman?
I just have one.
Martha?
Page 39, where we talked about our loan debt.
Yes, ma'am.
We refinanced that. Could somebody explain to me the numbers here on this page under loan payable net compensated absences?
Sure.
Because I thought we were supposed to take money away, and it looks like we added money to the debt. I'm not quite sure.
The compensated absence line?
Yeah.
That's your accrued vacation and sick time for all the employees, and it just changes from year to year based on usage and accruals and that sort of thing.
That makes everybody cringe.
Yeah, it's a strain. I mean, it's technically, as of September 30th, it is a liability, and if everybody were to come in here on October 1st and quit, that's what you'd have to write a check for. So.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And where is the credit for the refinance that we were going to save, millions of dollars over 10 years, $3 million over 10 years? Right.
It's actually in that footnote, the schedule that he called your attention to, 39. You can see that initial, the second segment at the bottom. The first loan payable was the one that we fully satisfied, so you can see at the end of the fiscal year that had a zero balance. And then the next line is actually us obtaining the refunding.
I don't see that. What
On
number
page-
is that?
Excuse me?
What number is that? What
On page-
the amount?
The amount?
Yeah.
The loan payable we paid off, we settled was $24.3 million. And then the next one, loan payable, and it had an ending balance of zero. And the very next loan payable net has an ending balance of $22.5 million, if you will.
Okay,
So we have
great,
them both
thanks.
broken
Okay,
out, so you can see one of them was fully satisfied, and the other one initiated when that one was satisfied. And then the savings that you ask about is on page 38 in the first paragraph. Under long-term debt, we actually clearly state that our economic gain from the refunding is approximately $3 million. So that footnote is in there. It's at the first. I'll be happy to walk you through that or to
Thanks very
discuss it.
much.
Okay,
Really
great.
appreciate it. By
Thank
the way,
you.
congratulations on another perfect report.
Oh, well, thank y'all very much. It's
And
a
you got
team
an
effort.
besides just an A, you get an A+ for that $1.6 million.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody joins in that.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any questions?
Good job.
Good. Thank you very much. Nicely
you.
done. Carl? Oh. Now, do we have to, do we need to pass something to approve that, or it's done and that's it? And-
No, sir. In presenting it to you all, and I do appreciate your patience, he does have to hit certain technical points as required by auditing standards, so that takes care of it.
Do they need to vote to accept it?
No, sir.
Good.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right, thank you very much.
Well done.
Okay, moving along, we're to the consent agenda. Before we, everyone take a look at that, before we do anything on the consent agenda, we had a question about item C. Carl or John, would you like to kind of just describe where Rosemary Canal is? Believe that's the essence of that question. If you could.
I think Matt.
If you can, oh, Matt.
Matt is here.
That was like the triple handoff.
I saw that.
Actually counting me, that's 4.
Matt, you're still here.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Rosemary Canal it does connect to Rosemary Creek, which
Right.
then does discharge into the Imperial River. The portion that's considered the canal would be east of Old 41, as it kind of proceeds in an easterly direction and then a northerly direction up along I-75. It was dug maybe in the late 80s, I believe.
Yeah, when you refer to old stuff, you always look at me.
Well, I figured you might know.
I get it.
And it does connect to the original Rosemary Creek. But the proposal on the green sheet was not to dredge it or anything along those lines. It was just a condition to get some property from Centex Homes or Pulte Homes.
Right,
who
the
owns
portion
Hawthorne.
that is the easement is just the portion that has the effect in Syntax or in that area. That's
Sir.
portion, okay? All right, Council, would you like to pull anything, or yes?
A.
A? So we'll pull A. Is there anything else? Would you like to approve
I'll
the
move to
remainder?
approve the rest of the consent.
Motion to approve
Second.
the remainder, and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slackton?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Councilman Longcart?
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Okay, Councilman
Councilwoman?
Councilwoman Simmons.
Good. Okay. Hey, Mayor, I see, and I think this is a good idea because we have done it with to allow the sheriff's department to go in and, monitor speeding and offer tickets and all that, issue tickets. But there was a note here by our city attorney. City council may want to let community associations that have private streets know about this agreement. And I think it's in Councilman Slatka's area. Is that not right? Does the community association know about this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Right.
Have they approved it?
Yes, in fact,
Okay,
it's actually
never
signed
mind.
already by the homeowners
Yeah.
association.
I'm super fine. Good.
Okay, good. Would you like to
Make a motion to approve.
One more comment.
Okay.
Just because it's brought up, I did ask Carl about the contract with the sheriff's office,
Huh?
if this additional duty would change the contract or require any additional cost to the city, and they said no.
Yeah.
Good. So there's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Slackton?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Councilman Longcart?
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Okay, and we are to item 8, we're public hearings. Audrey, second reading and public hearing of the following ordinance.
Thank you. This is an amendment to the Bonita Springs Land Development Code, Chapter 2, Administration, creating Section 2-3 to permit dogs in food establishments, providing for conflicts of law, severability, codification, Scrivener's errors, inclusion in code, and an effective date. This is the second reading. I've reviewed the affidavit of publication. It is legally sufficient. The local planning agency reviewed the ordinance at their April 11th meeting, which was after your last meeting. Their changes are marked in yellow in the document. It's not shown as underlines because this is a brand-new ordinance. Although I guess it should be all underlined, I think. Let me underline the whole thing when we finish. But the changes is mainly to only refer to the Division 1 instead of having to put Division of Hotels, Restaurants, Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, because that's kind of mouthy. Another change was to make sure the property owner, if it's different than the restaurant owner, also gives his consent. Make very clear that prints of electronic media, when John Dolmer is processing a permit, you're not requiring an engineer to come out and draw plans to allow this. But like a consumption on premises, you can have just something from, like, say, Google Earth, and then print it over where they're doing it. There was a request to make a modification in the standards so that the hand sanitizer can either be at a fixed location that's accessible to the tables or on the tables, because there's a fear that if you put them on the tables, people take hand sanitizer. Apparently it's something people like to steal. There was a change as to unused paper products, so that if somebody is feeding their animal using their paper products, it's not going to be a violation. Making it very clear we're talking transfers for the restaurant owner, and that a property owner who gave that authorization also can withdraw that authorization if he doesn't want the restaurants to continue serving people if they have a pet with them. Those were the changes suggested by the LPA.
Okay. Council, before we go to public comment, are there any questions?
Please.
Yes.
I've had calls, as many of you have, I'm sure, on this. This is simply nothing more than allowing what's going on in practice anyway. This is a small business. These are small businesses, and if we don't approve something like this, we probably put them in jeopardy of having less patronage. I recognize that there are some people who don't want this. That's okay. I've talked to several of the outdoor restaurant owners. They assure me that they will keep good tabs on this. They don't want to lose patronage on either direction.
Mhm.
So I still support this ordinance change. Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other? Yes.
Yeah, I just have one concern, and I think this is a good idea, and as Councilman McIntosh said, this is already going on, but this will be raising the level of sanitation involved, so this is actually better than what's going on. So my only concern is the disposal of a possible dog waste accident, that possibly that it just be placed in a baggie, tied, and disposed in a garbage container away from any food service or food preparation, because it's not outlined there, and I don't want people to be lazy and, and dump it somewhere attracting flies or whatever.
It's actually paragraph 7 on page 3.
I see that, but it does not designate where it will be disposed of, and I think that's kind of important, to be disposed away from the eating areas or food service areas. Most places have a dumpster out back and disposed of in a plastic bag, tied up in a plastic bag and disposed of away from food preparation and food service. I think that's just smart, because you don't want to attract flies. Yeah, if that's okay with the council.
Well, yeah, and I don't have any problem with adding that in, but there's a point in these ordinances where we start stating the merely obvious, but in this case, I don't have any problem with that. And the realities of this thing is that people can walk dogs up and down in front of your restaurant without coming in there and do whatever they want to do, and who's going to be policing that? So that's just kind of it.
Well,
be right at your front deck. I don't know how, as a restaurant owner, you're going to police that, or anybody else. But fine. If you want to add that the waste will be placed in a plastic bag and disposed of properly.
Yeah, and away from food service and food prep.
With that.
Thanks, Mayor. It's obvious to you and I, but it may not be obvious to other people. So.
Or the dogs.
Or the dogs, and they might have a problem tying up the bag, but.
We'll be sure and put that in doggy braille there. Anyway, they don't have thumbs. They don't have.
And by the way, Mayor, if we don't have an ordinance about picking up dog waste when you walk your dog, we should have one, because it contributes to poor water quality.
Yeah, we're not gonna go.
Don't we have one?
I'll research it. I believe we do.
I think we should.
Okay. Okay. Yes. And what else we got?
I'm just real briefly, kind of off the cuff here. Can we put in there that the dogs are not allowed to chase the chickens?
The chickens are in residential, so this is restaurants.
But you never know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Are you talking about the cooked chickens or the live chickens?
We're good.
All right. I think we're in Glib City now. Okay. Any other comment? All right. We'll go to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please come forward.
Yes, Rick Steinmeier, reading this title block, I believe it is. It says, to permit dogs in food establishments. That's inside. I want that changed to outside establishments. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Good point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Please come forward. On this particular item only. Thank you very much. None? And that's for this agenda item only. And okay, that's it. Public comment. What's your pleasure, Council?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve with the suggested changes.
Mayor?
Supplanting the in for
at.
Yep.
Okay.
A second if we haven't had one.
Okay. Good. Second. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Councilman Longcart?
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slakta?
Aye.
Your wife did.
Okay, and no more public hearings at this time, so we'll go to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any item whatsoever, even if it's not on the agenda, come on forward.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Morning. My name is Marty Roach. I'm here. I'm representing the Bonita Beach Alliance. We have sent an email to each of you concerning our position on the Osprey property on Hickory Boulevard. We don't have any objections to the cleaning and landscaping of this property. In fact, it is something that we would like to discuss with the Bonita Beach Improvement Association, and one of us could undertake that. The dedicated use of this property was for access to the bay, and by law, that can't be restricted. We're concerned with a precedent being set where any neighbor next to an access, either on the bay side or on the beach side, would ask and be permitted to landscape and control that access. As far as I know, and maybe you can look at this, there are no fences on the bay side of Hickory Boulevard. I'm sure that Mr. Glenn Brandt, who lives next to Beach Access 5, would like to have the same permission that you're trying to grant this gentleman in order for him to control Beach Access 5, which is close to where I live. I ask you to please be careful in all your decisions, as you will be setting a new precedent for our beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this time? Please come forward.
Okay, Rick Steinmeier, I'd like to finish my, this letter, reading into the records. Proof source, number one, Island Place is not a paper road. The plat dictates places specifically separately from parks and drives. The drive is a road to give lot owners access easement across sections of the plat necessary to allow owners to use and enjoy their property. In this case, bordering lots have access from Hickory Boulevard. 2, public rights are created by dedication and acceptance. The owners of all lots in a subdivision, by purchasing a lot in reliance on the plat, acquire an easement, a right to have this place used, no other purpose, independent of any public dedication. See Booth by Golf Properties in Alabama. Conveyance in reference to a plat also creates private rights. To purchase subdivision lots acquire the right to have the public places described in the plat maintained for their designated uses. McCordle versus Kenton in Florida, 1957, the court stated that when lots are sold with reference to a recorded subdivision plat, the purchase acquires an implied conveyance, a property easement in land of the grantors other than those specifically deeded. The purpose of the rule being not to create public rights, but to secure to persons purchasing lots under such circumstances those benefits, the promise of which is reasonable to infer has induced them to buy portions of the tract laid out in the plan indicated. Number 3, a similar claim asserted in Bonify Gardner in 84, in which this court found evidence presented would support a finding that appellate and other similar situations have an implied easement of access to the waterfront property. Conclusion, Island Place was dedicated to the public in 42, but I believe it was in 41 from my copy of the subdivision deed. As an access to the bay, please do not change Island Place from a bay access lot to a bay view lot for one property owner. Do what you know is right. April 17th, say no to this developer and move on to something more important, some more important matters that make more productive use of our taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Deb McLean again with the Banana Peel, and I would like to talk about the 1.6 million surplus. And I ask that 600,000 be put back into the beach renourishments fund that was depleted. I ask that the $1 million be held for beautification and any possible eminent domain issues along Old 41. Talking about consent of property owners for the dogs coming to the restaurant, I want to single out consent to property owners. I spoke to Bobby Hunter briefly last meeting, and he had just gotten property consent to patrol vacant land on Dean Street. There is at the county level a wonderful computer, and you can request and mail merge strap numbers and property owners and send them perhaps from the sheriff's office, maybe not from here, or from here, a letter requesting that they allow the sheriff's deputies to access all vacant property. And you do that directly to the property owner, outline the strap number, the site location, and mail this to them so that these affidavits are on file and the deputies are not hindered when they need to step onto a piece of property to keep public peace and quiet and safety. And in humor, I wish to thank Deputy Corey Roberts for all those tickets. Bye.
Thank you. Anyone else this time? Please come forward.
One more thing, sorry, Diane Frazine. Just want to go on record reiterating the fact that Island Place is not a paper road. It's not a road of any type at all. It is Island Place. According to the City of Bonita Springs Park Plan, master plan that we all discussed last year, I think, or last fall, there's a urban open space is one of the many parks. Urban open space, which is a park that typically serves a single neighborhood or an entire city, depending on the size of the park. I would question adding to my list of the beach accesses, neighbors taking over beach accesses per se, or limiting, not taking over, limiting the use. You could probably add Bonita Nature Place, Island Park, Lemon Tree Property, Kentucky Street Park, Imperial Parkway Park, Forest Park, etc. There's a lot of parks within our master plan that the neighbor could say, hey, you know what? How about if I put a fence around there and I'll take care of it and tell you when you can use it and when you can't. So just keep that in mind. And then secondly, maybe we should use a little bit of that 1.6 million excess to fix this little place up. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this time? Please come forward.
Christian Andre again. I just wanted to thank everyone for considering this today. When we had, if I could hold this up, can I place this
go
here?
ahead.
Okay. I don't know if there's a place to place this. When this plan was developed, it was our intention to hopefully benefit the community as a shared public-private partnership. We have an individual willing to invest to build this and construct this as well as maintain it. Suggested creating a pavement area seating bench to potentially increase visitation. And it does have a gate and a fence across the front. The side yard is not necessarily needed. And it's intended to allow public access all day long. So we were hoping that this would be viewed positively and hope it could be considered that way as a benefit for both public and the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You can take that with you if you want. And, we'll probably have you back up. Thanks. Hello, come on up.
Good morning. For the record, Kathy McGrath, and I'd first like to comment on Celebrate Bonita. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. All I heard, as a member of the Special Events Committee, I was there 12 hours. All I heard were positive comments, and I want to thank you. I told everyone, whenever you see any of your council people, thank them for budgeting it. And we were so fortunate to get Thompson Square. Believe me, that went on for a long time, and thanks to Laura and all her negotiations, I don't think any of you realize how much how hard she worked on it. And yes, there was a little bit of a delay. I don't know, behind the scenes, some of us know. They had played a show the night before in Alabama, and their bus broke down on the way. And so their show might have gone on a little bit late. And I don't know whether you all know, too, because I worked right next to them. They have a charity they support in Honduras, children. And what they were doing was, if you sponsored a child for $28 a month, they would meet and greet you before. They were very, very gracious. And if you got there late, they signed a CD for them. But anyway, it was a wonderful thing. And I want to also thank everyone, Parks and Recreation, Nicole. Everyone was just cooperating. It was just super. And a few other things I'd like to comment on. The last two meetings were so long, I didn't want to take your time. But I also want to compliment and commend Rick Barber for being appointed to South Florida Water Management. I know Councilman McIntosh did. Rick has lived here for years. He knows the lay of this land like the back of his hand. What an asset having him on it. Number two, the Zimmermans, David and Sarah, Royal Scoop. If you didn't see that egg roll, you really missed it. I have never in my life seen 25,000 eggs disappear in 10 minutes like it did that day. It was just a joy to see the kids. And I guess Lastly, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who voted for me in the recent Bonita Springs utility election. There were 9 running for 3 seats. I came in 4th. I'm very proud of that. And unlike some of the candidates, and actually some non-candidates who have issues with Bonita Springs Utilities, I don't. I've been involved for 27 years, 23 with my late husband, and 4 I attend all the meetings. The decisions that they've made over those years is what has made this the successful utility is now. And lastly, I saw this, and I think this is a wonderful comment. You know, I'm that glass half full, not glass half empty. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Does anyone know who said that?
Besides you?
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill?
Oh,
I give up.
Winston Churchill.
Okay.
Councilman Simon said it. Good for you.
Thank you.
And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this time, please come forward. Seeing none, we are going to the city attorney's report. I know a real public favorite.
Today.
Come on. Audience favorite? No, go ahead. Yeah. Anyway, Audrey, what do you got for us?
Thank you. For the record, Audrey Vance. The first item is the revised proposal that was submitted by Hastings Investments to create Osprey Garden Park and the locations in the green sheet. And I don't know if I need to go through much detail on this. I have reviewed the plat, and it's very clear, the plat. The dedication does talk about places. I am still of the opinion a place is a type of road. If you look at the plat, it doesn't show it with lines as a place. And I believe we would consider it as a paper road. I would want to point out, and I believe it's in the green sheet, but at this point, no one has ever seen a record of acceptance. There's been a dedication by virtue of the plat, but there's never been acceptance by either Lee County or the city. So if the city does take action on this, it would need to first accept on behalf of the public, and then after that, the license could be perfected if the city goes forward with the license.
So, to get this straight, do you see any differentiation between the type of accesses potentially on the beach side and on the bay side? They're very similar in nature?
They're similar, but those, I believe, on the plat, and I don't have that plat with me, because the plat portion I have is just strictly the Forester area and the Hickory Boulevard area, and I believe those accesses do say access.
But, okay, access to something.
Right.
Right.
They're not marked as place.
And the ones on the bay side are described as?
On the bay side, on the plat I have, it just has this one place located as Island Place. There's one other area that denotes a dock, but it did not have any kind of, it's between 2 lots 1 and 10, and it's very, there's nothing designating the size. I believe it's like 5 feet. I'd have to pull it up and make the plat bigger to see if I see.
Whether it's road or access, apparently it was meant to go to the water?
Mm-hmm.
It did go to the water, and there was a dock, and I would say that
Okay.
Mr. Feeney and I went and looked at some old aerials from the 40s and 50s, and there was definitely a dock located at time of the dedication.
So either way, just before we turn this over to council here, either way, no matter what we do here, if the council or the applicant has any idea of turning it into some type of park or access or whatever, there are steps we have to legally take in order to accept that on the public's behalf.
Absolutely. At
Yeah,
this point.
regardless.
Correct. At this point, there's been a dedication, you know, the plat, of course, the person who dedicated the plat has long been deceased.
Right.
We could find his heirs. I actually know where the heirs are on this one. But the dedication is open, so the
Okay.
city is the one entity that would be allowed to accept it.
Yeah. And so right now, it's like dedicated to the public
Forever.
at the time when the public accepts it through this
Correct.
entity that is us.
Correct. And we would do so, and
Okay.
no different than when we did Old 41 widening. We did a acceptance by resolution of platted roads that we had never accepted before because we needed it for the road widening.
Okay, good. So far as substantive changes, would you outline any of the substantive changes since you were
Since-
here last?
Yes, since you
Just
last saw it,
briefly.
since you last saw it, we did meet with Mr. Richardson. Council wanted me to see if he would consider a term of 5 years and a reservation for the rest area or for the kayak rest area. When we met with him, he would only consider it if we would consider automatic renewals for still a term of 25 years. To modify the 25,000, that says if city decided to build a kayak rest area, they could do so, but they would have to give pretty much 5 years' notice, and they would have to give back the 25,000, which is a deposit, which the city never asked for money, so it was in there. And that was pretty much the changes, as well as the differentiation and the changes in the drawing that Mr. Andrea showed you that had a wrought iron fence to differentiate from the fence that the property owner was putting in. And
Okay.
that's where they came up with that square shape, a different shape.
All right, and then also, there was a request from, I think Councilman McIntosh to bring forward an architectural rendering, and they've come up with that.
Yes, and Mr. Andrea has the large ones. I can forward the email that I received, the email which I've attached to the document. The printer didn't take in all the picture, but the first picture is actually not too bad, page 10. that
If
shows
you want to
the
go ahead and bring that up here and put it exactly where you had it before, that would be great. Thank you. Sorry about the double trip there. There you go. Thank you very much. Thanks. Yes. Okay. And at this time, I'll go to council. Council, comments, questions, concerns? And I'm going to come over to Stephen first. I'll come right back to you, Martha.
I have several. Audrey, if you would kindly look at regarding the security deposit on 21. I might be missing something, but if you can explain to me, it says if, under B, if the city elects to install the rest area, 15,000 of the security deposit will be returned. And then on 22, it says the city will return 25,000.
That's correct. That, in the errata sheet, I pointed out that this was something, I didn't want to give council a new document because I thought that could create more confusion. So in the errata sheet, I pointed out that 21 and 22 need to be reconciled, but as I understand it, and looking at my notes, we were to give him the money back, the
Okay.
full 25,000.
All right. Since the only opposing comments I've heard have been from BBA, I would just like to know your reaction. Have you had time to read their
I've read
comments?
some of their comments. I have not read all of their comments. It's,
Particularly like to know about any legal ownership. Do we have legal ownership?
we have the public's interest. We do not have ownership as a fee simple property owner. We have the ownership of taking care of it if we decide to accept it. And the purpose of the license would be a public-private partnership if they would be maintaining this park facility on behalf of the city. So, I mean, now I will tell you, there are other accesses, it's not on this particular portion of the plat, but on other portions of Bonita Beach, where property owners do take care of a portion, and the best example of that is on Melody. There's a little butterfly garden that has been planted. I guess it's been roped off next to the dock that provides a little bit of a buffer area between the dock and the motel next door to it. I think it's Melody, on Melody. But that's one that the property owner does do some maintenance in the area. Mr. McCourt, I believe he has a small, some landscaping that he placed at the end of the road that, sea grape, that would be considered that.
Well, there's probably areas all over
Sure.
the community where people actually plant stuff
Without
in
having an
easements and
agreement.
right-of-ways without
Correct.
our knowledge or permission, and they take care of it.
Correct.
Yeah. It's not
So,
uncommon.
as Dr. Steve has always questioned you about the legality, I just want to make sure, if we approve this, are we good legally?
I believe legally you can approve a license. You can, I don't believe you can do a lease. I did do the more conservative documents.
Agreement.
The license would be only of what the public's rights are. which would be then that license would be, he would be operating a facility no different than a concessionaire. And if you believe that the terms of the license serve the public, then it's appropriate. If you don't, then you don't.
Okay. And the other question I had a wonderful talk with a 93-year-old lady on Hickory Boulevard, and she had a question about adverse possession. Is that a possibility at all?
We've had one adverse possession type argument against the government. I believe there is case law that prohibits it against public right-of-way. Again, we have not accepted this at this point. So, but if you have an agreement, one of the elements of adverse possession is that the person has to be hostile to your interest. And if you're giving them consent, you're requiring a license, they cannot prove adverse possession.
Okay. And another comment that I've heard about lack of access. We are not restricting access to the constituents, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Are we? Two.
Nicole, would you come on up?
To the actual area itself, we're not restricting, but we are restricting access going into the mangrove area.
To the mangrove area.
Which we do in a lot of other parks too, just because they are protected and we don't want people trampling through them. So this would be the same. We aren't allowing access through the mangroves, just like any other park.
Thank you, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
But there is within the document, there is a restriction, some kind of restriction that says if we do build or choose to do certain things with it, well, then there's a refund of the money that.
Correct. We in the beginning did not ask for any type of deposit. That was something Mr. Richardson volunteered for this project. So yes, if we decide that, okay, we want to build the kayak rest launch, then we would give him the $25,000 deposit back. That's what's in the current agreement.
Okay.
Or a portion thereof.
Or currently it's the whole amount unless you choose to change that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Just a final.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
A final comment. Carl, I talked to you about this, that if we disapprove this and we would like to beautify this property, then the city, this would be very, very low on the priority because we've got so many other projects going on. Am I correct on that?
Well, that's a staff answer, okay. Obviously, the priorities are set by the council. If you choose to change the priority list anytime you want, you have the authority to do that, yes. But we do have other projects throughout the city that have already been prioritized by council, so it would take a change in that. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
And,
Martha.
and currently, I
Oh,
just want
go
to
ahead.
add, this isn't a park, so it was not in the park master plan. That's, because we haven't accepted this, it's not considered a park. So that's why you didn't see it in my overall.
Because it's a garden.
No. At this point, the city has not accepted the platted access area, whether we call it an access area, whatever island place, and incidentally, I have one citizen, because of how it's drafted, he's insisted it's Bland Place on Forester. And there's not a lot of people that still remember.
Bland Island.
Because it's so close and, but we have not accepted that area yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Mayor.
Martha.
Okay. I think it was in 2007. I don't know, Rick, when was it? We brought this forward before council for the city to accept this, to have a little neighborhood pocket.
Easy. Rick, please.
Thank you, 2008. Thanks, Rick, for your reminder.
Thanks.
Okay, because Rick and I had talked about this before. And unfortunately, I brought it forward with that understanding that this is not a simple matter. This is rather complicated, but I think bottom line is you said, Audrey, and I've been going back and forth on this, on what the ownership issue is. I don't want to give away somebody else's private property, certainly, or public property with bay access, because it's a rare commodity today to have public access to waterways. Night fishing, moonlight kayak, whatever, things that are disappearing today. But I think you said it simply, we don't own this. So why are we making a decision on this if we don't even own it? I think it may be, I may be wrong, but I think Florida State has a law against us doing this. And I'll tell you why.
Easy.
I'll tell you why I think. You know, this is why it's confusing and concerning for me, because there are many issues involved here. And it's not as simple as it looks. For instance, when I looked up the history, Osborne Place and Lane Place were both vacated as roadways by the county. But they might not have had a right to do that. That doesn't make it right that what they did. And you look through the history of vacations on the Bonita First Edition, okay? But when I also looked at what easements meant, when the neighbors said, well, we have an implied easement here. And okay, they're more complex. If I could, Mayor, just take a second.
Go ahead.
Implied easements are, sorry, this is on Wikipedia, so give it the measure of law that you want. Okay, implied easements are more complex and are supported by the courts based on the use of a property and the intention of the original parties. So, what was the intention of the original parties? Was it to give bay access? I think so. Who can be private or public governmental entities. Implied easements are not recorded or explicitly stated, but reflect the practices and customs of use for a property. Courts typically refer to the intent of the parties as well as prior use, and we can tell with a dock on there, to determine the existence of an implied easement. And I would say that these folks who have said that there's an implied easement, that, you know, it's for the public use as it was dedicated in 1942 to the public's use forever, not to the owners of Hickory Island subdivision, but to the public use, which means I could go out there and use the dock. I don't want to take that away. And so I'm not going to vote for this, one, because I'm confused, but two, because I do think that there's a public interest here that we're giving away that's rare and will never be found again. So there I go.
Okay, Audrey, you've got a gigantic legal-looking book there. I
I do, and let me try and explain the city's ownership, or not an ownership issue. The city, every day, not every day, but pretty close to daily, the mayor has to sign a plat. Maybe not daily, but about 10 times a year, whatever amount of times, he signs plats. And in the plats, there are these dedications. And in these dedications, it spells out, and they get much more refined than a 1940s one, but it spells out different areas and who those areas are dedicated to. This is different. Now, in that sense, the government, if it is not saying, when it says dedicated to the public, the case law on that has been very clear that dedicated to the public means that the government that's in charge of that area, which is the city, it is now dedicated to the public. They are the public trust. They're the ones who hold that land in trust for the public.
Right.
Okay? Now, this is different than a implied easement, which is the same thing as a prescriptive easement. In that case, it is somebody who's obtained and used, not because of what it says physically on a piece of paper that's been recorded like a plat, but because of usage. Okay, so somebody might have an implied easement to always walk in a particular area because they've always walked in that particular area. You see implied easements with agricultural lands quite often so that the farmer could get to the backlands. And those are different statutes. So that's kind of an apples and oranges. What we have here is a plat. We have an older plat, and it does say place. It does have the word places, both in the name of the area, and that area is marked like a street. I'm not a surveyor. I could bring a surveyor up here, but they would say that because it's open, it's not closed up. It's not a physical, like a lot. That was always intended to be a street type thing, like a place. And there was a dock at that end, and if you looked at the time they were platting the area, Hickory Boulevard wasn't built, but there was a physical gravel road from the end, from that dock, over to the rest of the island. So I would tend to think Island Place was probably an appropriate name for how they platted it, although if there was a person by that name,
or the name, or the name of a road,
or a name of a road, yeah. And place is very common, to use at the end of, no different than street, terraces, parkways, etc. But that's I mean, the law is very clear, and you have the right to vacate the public's interest, as well as you have the right to accept it and use it in accordance with any license, no different than you might enter into a license for a concessionaire or a license for anyone else to be physically using the park.
Okay.
property.
All right, yes?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Prescriptive evening, sorry, Wikipedia again. I didn't go to school. I didn't see it at the American Express.
You're
Well,
not
and
an
I would
attorney, but you
suggest
play
that you
one
get
at the
a
council
governance.
meeting. Go
I
ahead.
do, and I thank you, but it's my right to understand these things
course.
by making a decision. And it just says here, prescriptive easements are implied easements, as you stated, and that although they are similar but different from adverse possession.
Correct.
Okay, why are we doing that? Adverse possession, okay? If the neighbors it seems like more neighbors than not, because I did receive emails from other than the Bonita Springs Beach Alliance. Somebody I respect very much sent me an email, and just said, "Don't do this." That was in the plat, and we like to keep that as bay access. I just don't know why, if a lot of people out on the island say, we don't want this, why are we giving special benefit to one property owner because he's improving for a lovely landscaping job?
Okay, well, that's not a legal question, but
No,
that's
okay.
good.
Okay, thank you.
I think we get where you're coming
but
from.
the licensing, okay, so down to licensing. Sorry, Mayor.
That's
But
all right.
it really is important to ask these questions. I'm so sorry.
You want me to look up
It's
the definition
ahead.
of license?
Well, you can describe why licenses. For one thing, I have a problem with this license is the request, Mayor, you asked about it the last council meeting about a 5-year renewal. And the person who's proposing this or who's working with this, Mr. Richardson, said, no, he wants 25 years of automatic renewals. Well, I don't see what the difference is.
Yeah, and now, let's try to split these questions up. Martha mentioned adverse possession. This isn't a case of adverse possession.
No.
It may feel like it. I get that, it may feel like it, but legally, is this a case where you could consider this
No.
some type of adverse possession? And no is good enough, okay? And so far as the other one, I understand, Martha, and I think everybody's clear on your reasoning for not wanting this to happen, so we'll go ahead and
Okay, and I'll wrap it up, just the last thing.
All right.
In such a case, because we are looking at use issues and land issues and changing of property use issues, is there a requirement by council members to disclose conversations they'd had with members of the public, members of private development, members of realtors, any of that kind of stuff?
No, you're welcome to disclose if you want to say something, but the statute is clearly when you're in your quasi-judicial capacity of doing zoning actions. It doesn't even apply to comp plan, so
Okay.
it would not apply to a license.
Well, I just want to disclose that I've had emails from the staff, the residents of Hickory Island, and that's all.
All right. Any other questions? I'm going to give I'm going to call him the applicant, but the person who wants to do this, to come up here and say his piece. Anyone have anything else to say for that? Would the architect or either one of you like come up and kind of describe, and give you the opportunity here to describe what it is you want to do?
Certainly. The proposal entails re-landscaping, sodding, the front curb appeal, making it look a lot more finished, a lot more attractive. Currently, it's relatively natural. Currently, there's been some cleanup that's gone on that I haven't had the benefit of seeing yet. The proposal includes creating a seating opportunity in the front of the center of the property here, along the street side, a little extension of the sidewalk, a proposed bench, some fencing along the front, along the right-of-way, and a gate with a sign on it that says Osprey Garden. The intent is that the gate is open, operational during the daylight hours, and at nighttime is when it would close for security reasons. Internally, there is some landscape proposed along the side lot lines. Again, just trying to add landscape to the area and enhance the property. So there are no restrictions from a daylight use for visitation, pedestrian linkage. Currently, I don't know how much the site's being used. I would venture, I don't think there's a lot of people accessing the site. I think doing something like this would actually create an opportunity for people to come visit, sit, and potentially walk the property. So from visitation, pedestrians accessing the property, I think you would see more use of the property as is currently proposed. Speaking with Mr. Richardson, he had indicated the fence along the north lot line was optional, so it didn't have to be there. He felt to give a perceived security so people weren't camping out in the back or being, a potential risk or having issues at nighttime back there. That's where the benefit of the fence along the street had merit. And if access or people wanted to walk around and, use it at all hours of the night, no fence along the side would open that up. But the intent is trying to create a safe place and, to the benefit of the community. The maintenance costs, if you look at the numbers of what it will cost to maintain a property like this, it adds up into some dollars. We have projections of what we think it is, but currently I don't think there's really any maintenance being done to it, or maybe a quarterly or semi-annually bush hogging or whatever may be going on, and maybe that will change if council chooses to do so. But all in all, this picture, if the city were to say, let's go make a park of this, it wouldn't surprise me if they did something like this anyway. So here you have a person willing to fund it, operate it, maintain it, and still allow, daily access to it.
Okay, good, good. Any questions for the gentleman before he sits down? No? Just one question. How tall is the fence?
5 feet across the front, and I think it was 6 foot on the side is what was proposed.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, council, any comments?
Your take.
I got a couple here. I understand what the gentleman wants to do here. Don't blame him a bit. If I was going to build a house there, I'd probably be doing the exact same thing as he's trying to do right now. I get that, and believe me, regardless of what happens here today, I understand that staff's worked hard on this. He has worked really hard on this, put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this. And regardless of what happens, I think that's what's important is this process of discovery. This is a little bit new for us, so we're trying to figure out if this is kind of a model that we want to use in the future. I mean, and it is kind of a thing that we're trying to sort through. So I think that that's good either way, because one size doesn't fit all when it comes to this type of thing. My own personal, and like I said, again, I understand what the owner wants to do. My own personal preference is, coming from the background that I do, I look at the beach areas, the community areas, our waterways, and I know that access is disappearing every day, 7.5 feet this way, 7.5 feet that way. That's all there is left. The next lot, the next lot, the next lot. Pretty soon, we're going to be a waterfront community without the ability to access in any way. So, just for that reason alone, I think that I would rather that the community, through its government, develop a plan for these, and you have to prioritize them for these, not pocket parts, but for these access ways, because they are of great value to the public, potentially. Some of them you will go through there and go saying, you know what, this one has no value. And you know what, if it has no value to the public, it should be split and given to the property owners like we do any other easement. And that's what happens when we have an easement and we have no plans to do anything with it. I think legally we need to go ahead, when there's an application for it, we've got to go ahead and let the people take the properties there. I mean, it's one of the things out of all fairness to do. You got no plans for it, that's what happens. The people apply for it and you divvy it up. We do it quite often with easements. So in this particular case, I know that the intent, and I apologize for any work and trouble you've been through like that. And I personally have made a commitment to the entire community that no matter which way this goes, that this place will be taken care of and will look good, and we will take better care of it than we have. We couldn't help but take better care of it, quite frankly, than it has in the past. But that's my opinion on it. I think that we need to do more of a master planning of these, because there's a lot of these out there, just like this. This will not be the last time this comes before us to do this. It won't. So, and then you'll be in a position of trying to differentiate which one you're going to do and which one you're not. So that's my opinion on it. And council, I'm interested to hear yours. Bill, you have anything?
I'll make a motion
Okay, go ahead.
to deny.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny the agreement. Discussion, please. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Simmons?
Motion to deny? Yes. Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Councilman Longcart?
Yes.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slakta?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye. Again, for the applicant, I apologize for the time and energy you spent on this, but I think it was part of the discovery process on this, and I want to assure you and the community there that we're not going to just kind of forget about the park. We are going to budget something, and we are going to go through the process of going ahead, I think, doing what we need to do legally in order to make that a park access whatever, part of the plan. Yes?
Great job.
Do you want me to bring a resolution back to you for City Council to accept Island Place as a public access?
Indeed.
Yes.
And part of that process is going to be involving the public and the adjacent property owner in the process so that they can all comment on what the use is going to be. Okay? Before we start doing something.
Great, thank you.
All right?
Well done.
All right. All right, well, let's go ahead and carry on. We're on item B. Audrey?
1 second, I'm a little... Thank you. This is to repeat, I have the wrong document in front of me. One moment. Thank you. This is to repeal Bonita Springs Ordinance 0408, which is City Council adopted, which requires fingerprints of employees in City Council when they go before a sensitive area. This is just a permission. You'll notice in the errata, per the charter, I need to have the repealer language all listed out as strike-through. So instead of a one-page document, it'll be about a two-page, because Section 1 of 0408 will have to be all shown as strike-through. The city currently uses ADP screening, and through the screening, it performs a variety of searches, and that's all listed in the green sheet. The fingerprints are done by Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and then they do a FCIC and CIC database check to see if there's anything where the person whose fingerprints come back with anything. The problem is that the fingerprints normally, and this is a policy call, the fingerprints normally take a couple months to come back and generally were inconclusive, where the electronic screening would take just a matter of days to get back. The screening takes, Meg Weiss apologizes she's not able to be here.
She's here.
Oh, then she can answer those questions if you have any. Okay, good, I'm glad she's here now. So if you have any questions, you can ask Meg as to it.
All right.
Hi. How are you?
So, what do you got?
It's just a duplication of services. Right now, we use ADP services that give validation of social security numbers, sex offender registry, drug screening, and the criminal background check, where the Florida Department of Law Enforcement was just giving the criminal background check. It was double the cost, sometimes a little bit more than double the cost. So it's just a reduction of duplication of services and costs.
Okay.
We're still doing the process. We have not.
Good. And Kyle, you have any questions?
Yeah, I went and did that. It cost me about $15 over at the substation.
It's about $54 for us to process the whole, to send the fingerprints into the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Okay, let me ask you another
Background
question.
checks.
There's some proposed legislation going on in the state. We might have to repeal this anyhow. Is that part of this consideration? You're not allowed to do background checks for people while they're being interviewed. There's some proposed legislation going on?
That's not part of our consideration at this
Okay,
point in
thank
time,
you.
because it's not adopted yet.
Well, and just to clarify, you cannot do background checks of applicants. You can only do them after you've made a contingent job offer. It is illegal to do it of an applicant that you have not made a contingent job offer on.
I guess it's the contingent job offer time that you're not allowed to do it back. They're changing something. Take a look.
Okay. Any other questions? Council, what's your pleasure? And then what you're looking for is a permission to advertise this as an ordinance. Is that correct?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Simons?
No.
Councilman Longcor? Councilman McIntosh?
Hold it.
Hold on. Bill?
Aye.
All right.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slegba?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Okay. Audrey, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir.
No? Okay. And we are up to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, first off, item A is the monthly financial report. This is through September 28th, 2013, so 5 months into the fiscal year. Any questions on that? Okay, moving on item B, I'd like to bring up Arlene Hunter, our Director of Development Services, to talk to the council about our very first opportunity to provide incentives for a corporate relocation. Arlene?
Good morning. As the city manager said, your staff is very pleased to be able to present our very first incentive package. Under Florida statutes, a corporation can request confidentiality from a local government, and this particular company has asked confidentiality from city staff. This particular company is relocating their corporate headquarters from out of state. They have proprietary information, they have pending contracts, and they have employees that are currently outside of the state that would be in the process of being notified of relocation into our community. So at this point, they're not willing to release that information, but still want to begin negotiations with the city. The proposal before you is only a conceptual approval. It is a retroactive payment once the corporation locates within city limits, creates those permanent positions in our community, and it's our way of giving a good faith pledge to them that should you complete your relocation process, we would be your partner and create this incentive in payment of this incentive package. It is for an amount not to exceed $35,000. $5,000 of which is in rent abatement, and $30,000 is within job creation. It is a proposal of a minimum of 20 new jobs, which would be in the pay range category of Lee County up at or above the $36,000. Up to 20. Well, our proposal is up to 20. The company may bring more than 20. That is a decision they will make, but our proposal is only for 20 employees to be able to be eligible for the incentive package. This is our first incentive package, and so we wanted to bring this item to you under the city manager's items. In the future, as you become more comfortable with us moving through this process, we would put this on the consent agenda as well.
And the nature of the business is within the scope.
It is a targeted industry as identified by the city council.
There you go.
That's
Thank you
good.
very
And
much.
I might just tag on here. Arlene's done a great job of explaining it. This is exactly the kind of business that we would be looking for in this community and was actually the target for some of these incentives. This company is small enough, yet that it probably would, in fact, we know, would not fly on the county's radar screen because they look for bigger fish. The purposes of the council adopting the incentives that you did previously was to really help those companies that are smaller, that the county would not be able to help, that we could help attract them to Bonita and get them to grow in place. And that's exactly what this opportunity is.
Good. Thank you. Council, any questions?
Yes, sir.
And again, remember there's a confidentiality agreement in place. So.
Okay, Arlene, it's 20 employees are relocating, or is there potential for extra jobs?
10 employees are relocating, 10 new positions would be created.
10 new positions to be created, okay. And are you able to divulge the location of the property?
Not currently, I'm not. We do want to let you know that once the company gives us permission to lift the confidentiality agreement, we will be more than willing to name the company and their current location. I'm sure the EDC will be involved in ribbon cutting, and we want to promote them as our partner.
Thank you, and
Okay, good.
thank
Martha?
you for doing a great job.
Thanks, sir. Martha?
Well, this is good news, and I'm not going to ask anything about the company. I just want to ask about the contract, and that is just similarly to what Councilman Slatko was asking about what we're paying. I know that like the Lee County incentive program has a performance measure so that the employees that you incentivize for 150 employees or something, they require them to be there for like 5 years. Our requirement is for 1 year because we don't pay as much. I mean, that's what we approved. I mean, we have a performance measure built into this. So, for instance, the city will pay $1,500 for each new hire once employed within the city for 1 year.
Okay, the agreement that we have with them is, and this is up to your approval, that's why we're bringing it this way, is because this is a relocation, they've already got current employees that they're actually going to relocate with them, that we would pay them up to $1,500 for each of the employees that they're bringing, as long as they make above the county average, which is $36,000 a year. And the information we're getting is that is going to be accurate. So we've indicated to them that we would pay them after those employees have already relocated here, and we have proof that they are here being paid by the company, that they live in the area, all right, and that the company's actually paying them the amount of money annually that they're supposed to be paying them. So yes, there are performance triggers. Those are the ones for this. For the positions that would be new here, which would be an additional 10, those positions would be handled exactly like the council adopted it, which is, they've got to be here a certain amount of time. Before that happens, it's the year. And again, they have to make a certain amount of money.
And so would that be a resident of the city or
That was not part of it, just the area.
Southwest Florida.
Okay, so so a resident of Southwest Florida. Cumulatively, it seems like a chunk of money, but I mean, if this works out, that means somebody has to buy a house, rent an apartment, or buy a piece of commercial property, go to your grocery store, go over to your restaurant, shop it, whatever. So pay taxes. Sounds like a good deal.
We also
$1,500.
think, well, when we've talked to the owner, and he is actually, this was his idea, and of course it's a very attractive idea, and that is that we would be looking for ancillary businesses to be co-located here as well.
Awesome.
Businesses that actually provide services to this company. So I think there's opportunities for more economic development as we go forward with just this one company.
Yes, he's willing to partner with us in attracting other corporations to our community that are ancillary to his services.
Well, I don't know why we would want to approve that then.
Okay, yeah, I don't know either.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Martha's touched on this, and I just want to flesh it out a little bit more. Would residency in Bonita Springs, would that be a deal breaker? And/or would that be a legal requirement? Would that be okay? I know that's not part of the deal as it is at the moment. Would that be off the table? Would that be a deal breaker?
I don't know. It's not something that was in your originally adopted incentives. I would be concerned if we tried to raise this now with this particular company. If that's something for the future the council would like to consider, then of course we certainly could do that.
Oh.
I would be concerned right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I don't know, the residency within the area does bring a lot of benefit, but I don't know. That may be something you may want to add to the package in the future as we see how this works out and where people end up going. So.
Or a percentage of residency.
Percentage of
Percentage
residency.
is a good idea.
Maybe.
They'll want to live here anyhow. What the heck? What's better than Bonita?
What's not to like? Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, Bill.
Carl.
Yes, sir.
Or Arlene. And I don't know if this is still private. The financial strength of the company, have you, I don't know how to approach this.
Vetted it, yes.
Are they solvent?
Currently, that is confidential information, but that we are working very closely with our astute CPA, Lisa, to.
That's good.
She is our consultant on this as well, and so she is actually assisting me with making a list of the financial records that we specifically need to see to make sure that everything's credible, and she will be, double checking all this information for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa's already been in the mix. So yes, but now I want to be clear on what we're asking for today. Is we are asking for conceptual approval. If you do that, what we would like to do to keep things moving, and only if the council feels comfortable, is we are specifically asking that you authorize me, the city manager, to vet all this material through the appropriate staff, and once the triggers have been hit in terms of providing the information and we feel comfortable that performance is there, that we have authorization to make these payments.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve and second, as stated by Carl just now, right? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. And I just want to let everybody know that the staff has done an incredible job of vetting, because you want to be sure that these are real people, real companies, and that they've done a great job. So
Yeah.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Longcart?
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slackton?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Thank you, council.
Nicely
you.
done,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay.
And
Carl,
then,
what else you got?
My next item is really discussion on how council would like to handle the possible appointment of a member to the brand-new Lee County Restore Act Advisory Committee. We sent the resolution to you. You can see the kind of folks they're looking for. You can see the responsibilities in that particular resolution. And each of the municipalities within Lee County is going to have an opportunity to appoint a member to this committee. And we were wondering, we need to do that within 30 days. If you do not make an appointment today, we still have another meeting on May 1st, and you could make that appointment then if you need more time to think about it, or if you'd like to vet some candidates today and then make a final decision then, or make a decision today, whatever council's pleasure.
Council, what's your pleasure? You want to wait till, you need some time to wait till next meeting to get some candidates, more candidates?
I recommend one candidate, but Dr. Darren Rumbold of FGCU, he was on the Deep Horizon Academic Task Force and also will be doing some research study on mercury related to this. So I make that recommendation, but certainly I'd be happy to wait if you find other candidates, and probably so would he.
Does he know he's being nominated?
Yes, I talked to him.
Okay.
He's a busy man, but he is willing to serve if
Awesome.
he's awesome. But he's willing to serve if we can't find any other brilliant people like him. But I'm sure we have plenty of brilliant people.
I have a suggestion.
You have a suggestion?
I do have a suggestion.
Go right ahead.
And Dr. Rumbold is a great candidate. I'd like to suggest Richard Ferreira. He's sat on this council, on this dais. He's been working with the waterways. He's very involved with what we've done in trying to protect our waterways. And I'd like to at least have him considered over the next couple of weeks and make a final decision.
Okay, why don't we do that then? Why don't we go ahead and compile a list of, there may be a couple other names or something like that, and then at the next meeting, we'll go ahead and hash that out and figure out who we're going to appoint. Would that be all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, the last thing I have on my agenda today, well, that we're going to have a presentation on, is I'd like to bring Matt up, our Director of Public Works, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about an update on landscaping plans in the city. Matt?
Good morning, Council. Mr. Mayor. You may have seen we're starting on the Imperial Landscaping Project.
Yeah, those trees with no limbs on them, those little sticks that are going to grow out. What are those? I mean, come on, really? Oh, wait, those are stakes?
Those are
Oh.
stakes, sir.
Okay, never mind.
We started this week, actually yesterday, directional drilling for the irrigation sleeves for that project. We have bid documents drafted, landscape plans that the tree board has reviewed. They made one minor change, recommending that we replace sable palms with royal palms. So we have the plans, and we expect to be going out to bid here very shortly, within the next week or so. And we're laying the infrastructure currently to support the irrigation lines for the project, and we'll get planning underway this summer, pending council's approval
Okay.
on
The tree committee recommended you
substitute
royal or cabbage palms with royal palms?
Sorry, I misspoke. I meant Senegalese palms or date palms.
Okay, so we're gonna not have cabbage palms, and we're gonna put in.
We're going to have cabbage palms. We're not going to have date palms.
There you
We're
go.
going to have
Okay.
royal palms.
I thought that was a little.
I like royal
Ooh.
palms. That sounds good.
What about the Royal Palms?
Imperial Parkway,
Uh,
Royal, hello?
They're looking to use native vegetation that
Yes,
will
sir.
actually live, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was their recommendation.
That was their recommendation? Yes.
I did misspeak. I'm sorry. It wasn't Sable.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good.
I'd just like to say thanks. I've heard from 2 residents already that live off of Imperial who have seen the stakes and are thrilled. They have said, yay, something's happening. So this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Good. Anything? I interrupted you kind of. So you got anything else first?
No, sir. That was pretty much
Just kind
it.
of a brief description of what else is going to go in there. I mean,
It's 111 trees total. There will be sable palms, royal palms, black olive trees.
We will have Royal Palms?
Some.
so there's going to be a mixture of all kinds of palms.
Yes, sir. Some.
Okay.
Well, there'll be some Platatka holly trees,
Huh?
some purple tabibuya, which is kind of a low tree that has a
We
brilliant
outlawed
bright purple,
Tababuya in the city.
and some crepe myrtle and jatropha. So that comprises it, and there'll be 111
myrtle,
plantings.
that's the always
all
And this
told.
has had a great deal of input from our tree committee.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
It has.
Mayor, I'd
Okay.
like to comment on that if I could. This is informational only,
Go ahead.
but there are crepe myrtle that used to be on Bonita Beach Road, and there are crepe myrtle in front of the pool right now, and they always look dead. It'd be nice to have a live plant, but the crepe myrtle always loses its leaves for a long period of time and looks like a dead tree. It comes back when and it's not. I don't think is crepe myrtle native.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It
But
is?
when they bloom,
Looks
they're
dead alive.
bloom, they're awesome.
But it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And did I hear you say there are going to be royal palms?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I think we should have all of royal palms, but it's okay.
Sure, both.
Beautiful. And the jatropha is good, but the tababui, I thought we outlawed tababui. I'm glad we didn't. That's
No.
great. The purple one looks like a jacaranda.
Yes.
Oh,
Specifically
fantastic! I'll be talking to the city manager about that.
I think that the main thing to remember here is that the reason we put these advisory committees in the first place is so that they can take a great deal of time and effort and energy into researching these things. They're knowledgeable people. They work closely with staff. So when they come up with a recommendation, we have to really consider these things seriously
Yeah.
as a serious recommendation, even though we may have our own personal preferences and/or experiences. So,
Yeah.
unless it's something like totally off the hook. So, anyway, council, there's no action necessary, is there not? Information only. Well, good.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're happy
Yes. Yay.
in general. There you go. All those happy.
Yay.
Say aye.
I'll say yay. Aye.
Okay. Anyway, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just have one more item, Mr. Mayor, and I would be remiss if I didn't personally say a few things about Celebrate and our great staff. You know, our newest member to the management team, Laura Taylor, who's now the communications manager, was primarily responsible as the staff point on the event. Patrick Lippy, of course, is her assistant. And those two work hand in hand to make sure that these things come off without a hitch. And they are working with a wide variety of sponsors and people who are going to be doing business in and around the area. Laura was responsible for negotiating the contract that brought Thompson Square here, full well knowing that they were on the upswing in terms of popularity. In fact, we were able to get them locked in at a lower contract dollar amount to come here because they had not yet won their second CMA award for Duo of the Year. So, but we thought that was possible. So we were able to lock in a lower number. We got a great performance. Some of us had a chance to meet them. They're just awesome people. But again, we would not have been able to do this without Laura and Patrick, the great folks of our special events committee, all the volunteers involved. The city council's support budgetarily on that is a wonderful thing, and obviously the important thing in order to make this happen, because this is really a celebration of our community and a gift to our community. And so we thank also our residents who come here and celebrate and have fun at this time of year. And everyone was well behaved, and they had a great time that night. And I just want to thank everyone who was involved in that, because it reflects very favorably on all of us, and especially our community. And I thank you for your support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go to mayor and council member items. We have item A, resolution of City of Bonita Springs to appoint 3 members to the City of Bonita Springs Veterans Advisory Committee. Councilman Slacka.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. With the chairperson of the Veterans Advisory Committee and I met, and we have 3 vacancies right now, and the last couple of meetings we didn't even have a quorum. So we need to fill these positions as quickly as possible because we got Memorial Day coming up, but we got other things that are on our agenda. So with that, our number 1 pick would have been Bob Gillette. Unfortunately, Bob Gillette is having a shoulder replacement this week. And then he leaves for Michigan on May 1st and won't be back until October. So in the interim, we will put him on hold, and should there be a vacancy in the future. But at this point in time, Richard Price is our selection, Lieutenant Paul Canning from the Bonita Fire Rescue, and there has not been any other applications for the auxiliaries except for Deborah Whiteley from Post 303 in American Legion. So that's our recommendation. We hope you approve.
Are you making a
So
motion?
is that your motion?
Making a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Slackton?
Aye.
Mayor Nelson?
Aye.
Councilman Simmons?
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons?
Aye.
Councilman Longcart?
Aye.
Councilman, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to go over to Pete. Peter, what do you have for us today?
Well, certainly, the past couple of days in Boston have been a trying time, not only for Boston and the country, so my heart goes out to those friends and families and actually people personally that I know that were in the city. They are okay, but certainly there's a lot of people that are not okay. On a local level, I certainly want to reiterate my thanks and support for Sheriff Mike Scott, locally, Chief Daigle, and so many others and their teams that keep us safe here. And thoughts and prayers are with you, Boston. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
We're all Bostonians.
Thank you, Pete. Martha, what do you have for
Thank
us
you,
today?
Mayor, and thank you, Pete, for saying that, because my brother used to live in Boston. I used to travel up there a lot. We had a lot of family, friends. Been there in Copley Square, stayed in Copley Square for a rather large event there in 2004. They've done an incredible job making that city so beautiful. It's friendly, they're strong, they're compassionate people, and I know all of our hearts go out to them. But it's not just about them, it's about all of us. We're all Americans, and we all stand together, get through this. I have 3 other items. One is I want to compliment Jason, who works with maintenance, about how well the soccer fields look. I've never seen them look better. I don't know if you've driven past there, but both the city soccer fields and the Marnie fields look fantastic. Thank you, Jason. Well done, crew. I know y'all contribute to getting that done. Nicole, whoever you're running out there, they're doing a great job. Okay. Second is there is some legislation going minute by minute. It's crazy time at Tallahassee, fun and games time. Things are being proposed, things are being pulled, things are being amended. And currently, I've been watching the fertilizer legislation, and yesterday it was pulled. There wasn't going to be any, but now it's back, and gosh, who knows what's going to go on. But my concern is if it goes a little too far, in which we'll be preempted in 2 years. I don't think we will be, but I hope that we can oppose the legislation that is being recommended. Basically, it's to preempt all the other cities that haven't adopted one, unless they adopt the statewide model. We should stick together and help support them. I think the science will support what urban runoff does to water quality, but that will come for another time. That's what's being proposed. It's going to be a review council, but mostly it's very friendly to fertilizer with the people participating. I don't know if you saw the memo that I asked Carl to send out a couple of months ago, but we're saving about $1 million because we have this in place with the citizens participation program. That's my third thing, and that is Sanibel and the other participating cities will be going forward with Lee County to ask if they put forward a certain large amount of money for this fertilizer education program, similar to what has been done on water conservation. That's normal to us. Turn the tap off, don't run, we know that water conservation is very important here. It's a expensive resource, but it's an important resource. And fertilizer, the same thing. We have to get awareness about how properly to use the fertilizer, when not to use it. That's coming up. We're going to have the, no fertilizer between June 1st and September coming up pretty soon, the shutout period. And people need to understand why that's important for their community. So I'd like to ask this council if we would be willing to send a letter thanking the county for participating and contributing to the fund to do that, to do the Citizens Education Program. As you remember, we sent $5,000 to Sanibel as a receiver for these funds, Cape Coral, Naples, Fort Myers, all the surrounding cities have done the same, Fort Myers Beach, so that we participate in this and we get the word out. That will be coming forward before the county commission, and I hope that we can just send a friendly letter supporting that, because we have financially, but supporting and encouraging them to fund it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Well,
Oh, you got first?
that's coming up, so it's, I'm wondering if we could send a letter to support and fund that citizen education program. It means about $500,000 to our city. I don't know if I probably needed to put it on the agenda, Mayor, but
Yeah,
I figure that because we have sent the $5,000, that does offer our support.
Why don't we do that? Let's get it on the agenda item so we've got something to look
Might be
at.
too late.
Right. Yep.
I just found out about it yesterday. It might be too late by that time. But because we have paid into the fund, we could say that we are supporting the effort and ask that the county support it. Is that not?
You want to take a look at that, and and we could always.
I'll definitely get the information to the staff
Okay,
about
good.
what that's all about. I'm sorry to lay it on you, but
All right.
thank you so much.
You have anything else for us?
Mayor, no, I just hope everybody has a really nice the rest of April and be happy.
Good. Bill?
Thank you, Ben. The Library Task Force will have their next meeting on the 25th of April at 9:30 a.m. at the library, and we're going to have County Commissioner Larry Kiker there. And, of course, I'm always looking forward to Library Task Force meetings because we do have good conversations. However, we're still working on the results that we need for the city of Bonita Springs. Next, I'd like to comment on Laura Pace's job as the CPA here. She has, what did I say?
Lisa.
Lisa.
Lisa. Did I say Laura?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you were looking at Laura, so it's understandable.
Oh, there she is, okay. In the years I've been on the board, being a financial person as I am, it's been a pleasure to watch a professional like Lisa, who is with her staff, do the things that she does and be able to give logical explanation to simple people like myself on any budget matter. As we go forward this year, I hope you all realize up here on the dais that I don't make recommendations about doing things with financial matters unless there's sound background to do that. And that as we go forward, as you can see, the impact fee revenue is increasing dramatically every month. So that's just one indication. But also the prudent way we do things on the city council as a group really works. And we are a great example for what other municipalities in the state and the country should look at as an example of how government can work together with the private sector and the citizens and accomplish all things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Steve, what do you have for us today?
Yes, sir, thank you. You'll notice in front of you, there's an agenda. Excuse me, there's an agenda and backup for the sustainability meeting on Monday. It's one of the things I think is most important for us to consider on Monday is our grandchildren's grandchildren and green space in the city, which brings right to the forefront the Wonder Gardens property. We need to be able to think about how that's going to be handled, what the city can do to protect 100 years of old Florida growth. So it's in play. I want to make sure we aren't caught flat-footed. So that'll be one of the issues I'll want to discuss on Monday. I have good news from Bonita Springs Utilities. For the second year in a row, they've won a Water Excellence Award. It's a very comprehensive set of criteria. It recognizes water quality, operational standards, maintenance, safety, and professionalism, customer quality. So congratulations to Bonita Springs Utilities. Thank you. Having run in Boston, my heart goes out especially to the people in the Boston area. God be with each of you. And on a happier note, yesterday's Wall Street Journal, let me just read a couple of excerpts from the Wall Street Journal. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Give it to
It's
us.
Friday night it's Friday night at Sneaky Pete's Restaurant and Bar in Bonita Springs, Florida, and the dance floor is jammed. It goes on to talk about other establishments, and one of the paragraphs says, people say they get tired of feeling old. Okay. They hit the Sandy Parrot, the Stage, the Blue Martini, and the Parrot Key Grill. A dance is held Sundays at the Bonita Springs Elks Lodge, regularly drawing 200 dancers. Congratulations, Bonita Springs, Wall Street Journal.
Read the last sentence.
Again?
Read the very last sentence.
The very
on
last
there.
sentence on the page says, let me get it here.
Get it.
All right, you ready? We have a saying I like, he says, people up north survive, down here we live.
How you like that?
Yeah, that's a slogan.
I like that.
Bonita Springs.
I already stole that, by the way.
Buddy.
Better than Dunk City.
Dunk City, nothing.
You say that?
Thank you very much. All right, what do you have first?
Okay. I want to thank our staff, and when I say staff, I mean everyone. Laura, Patrick, Arlene, and then we've got to get to our Public Works and our Parks and Rec people who really overdid themselves. They were complimented left and right from the bands for all the help that they gave them setting up for Celebrate. It was awesome. Also, of course, goes without saying, the members of the Special Events Committee, they work so hard, but boy, does it show when those events come off like that. It was so much fun. I'm still getting feedback from the community on how awesome it was and how the heck did you get Thompson Square. That was the big thing. So it was awesome. I also want to thank members of the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department. They came through and they helped us all out too. So this is it's a huge community thing, and everyone coming together made it so special. I want to also compliment our staff, John Gucciardo and Matt and Dave, and then our friends from Lee Tran for the work on our wonderful new bus stop shelters. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're a great addition to Old 41, and I hope we can get a couple other stops that I see people standing out in that hot sun. We just want to remind the community the YMCA Mud Run is this weekend, 9 o'clock on Saturday, and also the Bonita Concert Band will be playing in Riverside Park on Sunday from 2 to 4. Next weekend, the last movie in the park for the season, How to Slay a Dragon, will be at 7:45. Swim classes are going to start at the community pool on the 28th, and summer camp will be coming soon. I also would like to thank David Piper for his service as a council member to the city, and I also want to wish his family well in their next endeavors. And last but not least, I promised I would do this.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna flash it. I gotta give it up. I think this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. And thanks to the folks who did this, all for the Bonita Springs Assistance Office, awesome. This is what makes Bonita Springs so cool to live in. Thank you.
Aren't you glad you remembered to put a T-shirt on today?
I'm glad I remembered the T-shirt. Yeah.
Oh, good.
One more thing.
Yes.
One more thing, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's on the
How do you
errata.
top that?
I can't top that, believe me. No.
Unintended.
Easy.
Thank you to Carl and the city staff and the mayor for signing an emergency order this week. The Lover's Key beach was eroded to the point that it was starting to impact the septic system, the wells, the drinking water, and so on. So they signed an emergency order that allowed us to protect that area. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. All right, I've just got a couple of things here. First of all, I just wanted to, along the lines of how. Oh, we've already been.
Already
to him.
done them.
But thank you. That's okay. Anyway, along the lines of how well the everything is going, and our staff does a great job. It really does, and you guys all make us look good. I have an interview coming up with Florida Weekly, and it says right here, he wants to have a quick phone interview with me about why Bonita Springs is the best managed small city.
Again.
Because it is.
That one's going to be an easy one to do. Anyway, so but on a little more somber note, a lot more somber note, there was part of this. A lot of the Boston tragedy was it's just all horrible, but this one thing really struck me, and it was this young man, this 8-year-old, Martin Richard, who lost his life almost a year ago, and you've probably all seen it online. Almost a year ago, they have a picture of him holding up a sign, and the sign says, "No more hurting people, no more hurting people." And then he had underneath there, "Peace," with his smiling face right there. Martin was the grade schooler who was killed. His mother, Denise, and his sister were grievously injured. And I just want to kind of hope everybody just kind of holds that in their mind. That means something, that somebody that innocent and would know that we should treat each other better. And it's got to start somewhere. It's got to start somewhere. So I just want to leave you with that. I know that there's a lot of skepticism and a lot of anger and everything out there, but if we could just remember that one thing, just that one thing, that would really brings it home for me. On a lot better note, David Short sent me an email, and it was a great one. Bonita Springs Elementary is the first school in Lee County to receive the Healthier United States School Challenge Award. And not only did they win one of the awards, they won the highest award possible, which is the Gold Award of Distinction. It's a program that's headed up by Miss Michelle Obama, the First Lady. And the program promotes eating more whole grains, fruits, vegetables, more physical activity. Department of Agriculture awarded them $6,900, which has been well spent on all kinds of great things that Bonita Springs Elementary needs. There is going to be a great celebration and ceremony on Wednesday, May 1st at 8:15, an award ceremony. The USDA spokesman is going to be there, Dr. Burke, Dr. Hicks, and a lot of other people. My thanks to Marianne, I think it's Buccaroni, from the Healthy Lab instructor for Lee County Schools. She says, "I chose Bonita Springs Elementary to work with because it's such a nice school. The atmosphere is friendly. Most of the students walk to school and their parents walk with them. Just an all-around nice place." So Bonita Springs Elementary, well done, and David Short, well done. I'm so proud of that school. Not only because I went to school there, but and that's where I graduated. Actually, as far as I went. As far as I went. I forgot about all that higher education, 7th grade stuff. Anyway, that's all I have. And at this time, public comment. Anyone wishing to speak at this
Approval
time,
minutes?
please come forward. Oh, yeah.
Approval of minutes?
We'll get there.
Okay. Ready.
Come on up. Come forward.
What's your hurry?
Sorry. No. Come on.
Deborah McLean with Publisher of the Banana Peel. This was a really good meeting. I'm looking over the agenda. We've turned a corner. The economy has turned a corner, and it was very pleasant to be through the whole thing here today. The only other things that I would like to see us do is to seriously consider, with the advent of a strong economy, putting together an architectural advisory board with the underwriting criteria similar to that other board where they actually are skilled in that area. I think that we're going to see some good changes on Beach Road, Old 41, and New 41. So an architectural advisory board, it's time. And also our waterways. We don't have a lot of waterways. We don't have a lot of canals, but they're underserviced and they don't look too good. A Waterways Advisory Board would take care of some of the issues, like the access issue. They could research it and provide you with the access list. They could work with the Imperial River Conservancy, which is never given enough credit for all the things they do. So those two items are the only two things that would round us out completely because we have so much citizen input. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, Rick Steinmeier. I'd like to thank Nicole and Jason for the work they did at Island Place. They mowed the grass, they removed the 50 or 100-year-old Australian pine stumps that were there. There's nothing now to, except mow the grass, for as far as maintenance until maybe next year, whatever, we budget something and make a decision as to which way we're going with this. So again, I'd like to thank Jason and Nicole. I handed out a color picture. I'd like one copy back to give to Audrey, if I could. Let me get it.
All right, go ahead. No, I want you to finish up first. We'll give it to her.
I needed to explain.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be easier now to wait for 2 weeks.
Well, how about 30 seconds?
3 seconds, okay. Of course, I got a picture of my mother on there with the BBIA and the rock that we donated to, and next to the mayor's name. But on this lower picture, there's a line with a circle around it, and that is the property line. And before we accept this property, I hate to beat on Mr. Richardson's, but the previous owner encroached that far onto the public property, and I wish I could have that removed. It would help with the drainage. It's an impermeable surface, and hey, this hand, Audrey, maybe she can make it before they accept it or something. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Rick. Anyone else this time, please come forward.
Good morning. It's still morning. Kathy McGrath. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me this opportunity. This is my annual reminder to everyone about being not only a blood donor, but a platelet donor. It's so needed. I'm a platelet plasma donor. You can do it every 2 weeks, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but chemo, trauma, and transplant patients desperately need platelets. Some of them need 8 units a week. They can get a whole unit in 1 hour from a person like myself, whereas it takes 6 whole blood donors to get 1 unit. And I go down, yes, it takes an hour for 1 unit. Sometimes they need 2. They can do plasma platelets at the same time. It's 1 needle. They take it, they take what they need, and you get your blood back. That's why you can do it. And I'm there, and I've seen people getting infusions, and believe me, folks, I'm grateful that I'm a donor and not have to get be the recipient. And to those that say, oh my gosh, I can't stand needles, you know what the nurses say? Okay, the next time you're in an accident, you tell the EMTs, don't stick me with any needles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else this time? Seeing none, would you like to approve the minutes?
Steve, would you like to go?
Now he's not gonna. Oh, very nice.
So move.
He's like-
Second.
I'm glad we're all on the same maturity level. Roll call, please.
Sadly, we are.
Councilwoman Martin. Councilwoman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Slack.
Aye.
Mayor Nelson.
Aye.
Councilman Simmons.
Aye.
Councilwoman Simons.
Aye.
Councilman Longcart.
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh.
Aye.
All right, everyone, thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for all your hard work on all these things. Thank you very much.